Okay, here we go. So thanks for your patience. If you are here on the live stream, again, thanks for your patience. If you are watching the recording, well, I'll probably edit this part out. Had a little technical difficulty getting the feed loaded up due to, well, it doesn't matter. So I'm Ryan Gerardi. Today is Tuesday, February 26th. I appreciate you being here. Chances are you're watching this on the recording, which will give you the luxury to skip around. But you may not have to. I'm gonna shoot to keep this to about 20 minutes. And really the purpose of this session is to introduce a new series. And I apologize, let me turn my camera on for you. There you go. The purpose of this session is to introduce this series, B2B Marketing and Sales Hacks. And I may have some visuals to share, but mostly it's going to be me here talking. And from a subject matter standpoint, what we're going to focus on for today's session is what sells and the problem with leads. So let's do this. I'm going to skip kind of the orientation, but this is the beginning of a series. I've been planning on doing this now for months, several months. And if you keep up with things here at Auto Conversion, you know we launched 5 different series in the fall of 2018. But those were all geared at the auto retail business. This session, this series, B2B Marketing and Sales Hacks, is designed for those in B2B marketing, B2B demand generation, lead generation. That's who this is geared for. So thanks for being here. It's recorded. It'll always be here. And you can always find out more information on autoconversion.net. So why am I live streaming? Well, for one, live streaming is kind of a promise that you make to your audience. It's a commitment that you make to yourself and to the audience. I have held off setting a live date for this purpose because I just had to get the stars to align to be able to do that. So I don't like to do too much preparation. I think in today's age, people want realness. We want rawness. I know with live streaming, there's the kind of expectation that we should have some interaction. I'm going to focus today more on just delivering, but I will check in on the YouTube comments. So if you're watching live and you want to interact a little bit, I'll do my best to check on those comments. So let's do this. The purpose of this series, B2B Marketing Sales Hacks, ultimately is because there is a huge gap between marketing and sales. And I think that most people look at marketing as a function or a thing and sales as a function, kind of like 2 separate functions within the business. But there's obviously some crossover too. I think that's how it's generally looked at. And what I'm gonna add to that is this. I don't see marketing in that sense. To me, marketing is the business, okay? There's marketing operations. So there's sales is a part of marketing. Client services is a part of marketing. Product design is a part of marketing. Branding, which is a whole nother subject matter. What people feel about you and your company, your brand. Can you brand something? I mean, a lot of times we think of branding as colors and designs and logos and presentation, but no, branding is really, you can attempt to brand, but ultimately people are going to have their own perceptions and feelings about what your brand is and who you are. So you can only focus on things that you can control. There's things you cannot control, and there's things that you can. And so what I like to do is focus on those things that I can control, which are things like producing content. So if we ask the question, what sells, okay? And here's what I get a lot. Ryan, I like what you do. I like the webinars, the webcasts, the live streams, the videos, all the social media, the blogging, but I don't understand how that translates to sales. That's the big question. And how do you answer that? And I think to answer that as best I can is that marketing doesn't sell. People sell, right? In business to business, in B2B, in the B2B universe, we buy from people. That's what sells. And really nobody, some would argue that people want to be sold, but I don't think so. I think people want to feel like they're not being sold. They want to feel like they're taking on something. They're handing money over to you. So they're making a commitment. That money exchange is out of principle. They're making a commitment to give you money, and you're making a commitment to give something back. And most businesses look at that as a marketing expense. Technically, in the context I just used, that's really an advertising expense. Advertising is a form of marketing. So it's an expense. And the question is, how do I justify the ROI? And so I think what our minds is, we want to have this line that says expense and, benefits, features, deliverables lead to accounts. I think that's how we look at it. It's natural to look at it that way. I don't. If you keep up with me, and I'll challenge you now, go to autoconversion.net and look at the blog posts over the past year. And I think you will find maybe one that actually says, here is what we do. If you look at all the others, they don't say that. We're talking about technologies, ideas, people, best practices, news and current events. We're talking about all these broad things, but it's not random. There is a madness to it, and it's designed to have a relatively broad appeal, but within context that makes people want more. So what do we want on a blog? Well, you want search engines to put your content in front of people. I will tell you now, if you can get search engines like Google to send you traffic, you're going to win the game. If you find yourself spending ad money on LinkedIn and Facebook to drive traffic to you, the problem with that is you're going to get the traffic. Okay, you're going to get it, but you're going to have to keep spending the money to keep getting the traffic if you don't focus on an SEO strategy. I think I did a piece on that the trap of being caught in a kind of a paid media strategy. So going back to what sells, it's people that sell. People buy from each other. We sell with one another. Marketing doesn't sell. You can do all the marketing in the world, all the advertising, all the digital marketing in the world. It will not just automatically turn into sales. And part of what I'm going to get into in a moment is the problem with the word leads. I'm going to get into the problem with the word leads. But to focus in on what sells, I want to focus in on the relationship. If you take a moment now to go to autoburstmedia.com, and there's a link that says get started. And on that page is a green button that says download PDF. And really, if you click it, it's just going to open this PDF document in your browser. And it's called the B2B Demand Generation Quick Start Guide. So let's talk about demand generation. And let me emphasize that you don't have to fill out your information to get that PDF. And here's why. I already know statistically that if I have a good lead magnet, a good message that says, get this B2B guide by going here, out of every 100 people that respond to that message and get to that page, about 5 to 10%, and that's a big gap, but I'm going to say let's say 5%, 5 out of 100 people that say, oh, I like that message, and they click through, and now they're on a page. If there's a form there, 5%, 3% might fill that out. And so now I've got what? 3 web leads, 5 web leads. What am I going to do with 5 web leads? These are people that may have given me good contact information, may have not. Then I'll have to put in valid information. But one thing I know is that if only 5 out of 100 filled out the form, I know that 95 out of 100 didn't get the information. Didn't get it. So I say, hey, just click the button. I'd rather you have the information and enjoy it and contact me. Because in the information is actual something you can apply and you can use. So go get the PDF. You don't have to fill in information. And if you like what you see, tell me about it. I want to know your feedback. So this is the problem with the idea of leads is sales and marketing. Okay. Salespeople, what they want are buyers. They want people that want to buy the product. So we'll call those hand raisers. What marketing does is they try to generate leads. I have an analogy that I like to share, and I'm going to bring up a graphic for this. Give me 1 second here. Get this graphic. So I'm going to expand it. I found this phrase last year. It says, judging marketing success by measuring leads alone is like counting the field goals your team scores. So I took that, made a little funny graphic out of it, counting the field goals that your team scores. But I'm going to actually take that a step further and say, when you measure marketing success by leads, meaning form fills and phone calls, I would say you're measuring it by first downs. Now, if you're not into football, you might not like this analogy, but most of us know that you win a football game by scoring touchdowns. That's how you win the game. You score touchdowns. Okay. You're not going to, yes, you can win a game by a last second field goal. Or if you get, like this year's Super Bowl, if you get more field goals than the other team, yes, you can win. But a football team doesn't set out on the field and say, hey, let's score some field goals. No, they want to score touchdowns. Okay. And you score touchdowns by moving the ball forward. So yes, if you get first downs, that's the best way to march down the field is you get a first down, and you put it in for a touchdown. So I'm going to say that a lead is more like a first down than a field goal even. And let's define leads. Okay. In police work and detective work, a lead is a piece of information that leads the detective to other information. It's just a lead of information. And I would argue that when someone fills out a form to download a PDF or to attend your webinar, even to get a demo of your product, okay, you're getting a lead of information. It's contact information. But you're not going to sell anything if you don't forge a relationship with that person. You won't sell it. Okay. Hey, Ryan, got your lead. We set up a demo, get on the screen share, and I do my pitch deck. Okay. Thanks for the information. I gave you my contact info. Thank you for the information. No, you have to build bridges. You have to build bridges. And that's the challenge. And that's why I say that marketing doesn't sell. Advertising does not sell. See what I'm getting at, right? So I'm going to stop sharing my screen here. Go back to just me. Let me check here just in case some live viewers up here are attempting to interact. I did not advertise this. First off, I set it up. And when I'm done here, I'll show you some things that I do to set these up. We have a unique process over here, so I'll show you that. Give me 1 second. There we go. And that's not where we want to be. This is where we want to be. Right there. Okay. So going back to your marketing objective is not, I'm going to say your marketing objective is not about leads. It's not about form fills and phone calls. Yes, those are nice. Those are your first downs. Take them. I'm not saying don't take them. Absolutely, you want those. But if all you do is sit back and wait for those things to happen, you're blowing your money out the door. Okay, you got to go after the opportunities. So I'm going to say this: marketing doesn't sell. People sell, we sell. And in order to do that, you need a relationship. So your lead generation strategy, your demand generation, remember, you want to be hunted, you want to get people after you, needs to be around the end goal in mind is to forge the relationship. And that takes time. Okay. In a romantic sense, you don't just go out and meet somebody and go on a date and get married. You don't do that. You don't move in right away. You don't start buying things together. You have to forge the relationship, and that just takes time. And I think it's the same thing with sales. Most of my business comes because of relationships. I would say all of my business comes because of relationships that took months to form, sometimes a year or two. And I think if you know me, what I don't do is I don't pester. I try to stay in front of you, but I don't sit there and nag and knock. I got a call this week and last week from the same company that I decided not to do business with months ago. Okay. Not against the company, but just because the product, the timing wasn't what I needed. Okay. But I'm in their system, in their marketing system, and they're doing their due diligence to follow up with me. But you know what they're not doing? They're not putting information in front of me to build value, to build trust, to build urgency. It's just phone calls and emails, phone call, email. Hey, Ryan, just following up with you because you're in our system as a lead, and it's not working. Okay. In fact, most people tune that out. I sometimes reject that. It just all depends. Okay. So you want to begin with the end goal in mind, which is to forge a relationship. And I want to put some closure to this. When we talk about quote unquote leads, okay, here's what I do. I have a funnel. Okay. I have targets. That's your persona. So I identify who it is that I think, matches the criteria for what I have to offer. And in my case, that's pretty broad. Okay. So when I send a message out, especially as an email, okay, you'll find I have my blogs hooked up to automatically ship off to subscribers. But when I send a personalized email, it's to either you individually or to you and a small group of people, because the information there needs to be really, really specific. I think with social media, you can get a bit more broad. So you identify who your targets are, okay? When I interact with one of those targets, or if someone interacts with me, maybe they weren't in my target list, but I put content up there and they like it or comment, okay? Or they reach out to me directly. Now I classify you as a suspect. I suspect that there could be a possibility here, but you're not a lead yet. Even if you fill out a form to get my PDF or sign up for one of my webinars, that doesn't make you a prospect. So in my system, you go in as a suspect. And the rule I have with a suspect is if I'm going to reach out to you, I need to give you some information. Okay. I'm not reaching out to you as, hey, I thought I'd follow up with you for just some reason. No, I'm saying, hey, I have this information that I think might be relevant and timely and really useful for you. What do you think? And if I get a response back, then I look at that person, and I study the company and what they're doing. And I actually study and take the time to look at what they're doing. And I think, I think I might like to do business with that person. And that's when I approach that person and say, hey, do you think we could find some time to actually, exchange some information about how we might be able to help each other out? And if they say yes, okay, there's still a suspect. And if they show up and we spend that time, okay, if by the time I hang up that phone, I think I can provide value for that person, I think I can provide value to that person, I now elevate that suspect to the next phase, and I mark you as a prospect. You are now to me a prospective buyer, but I made that decision. I did that, not because you signed up for something, not because you downloaded something, not because you engaged with my content, but because I studied you and I had a meaningful conversation with you of some degree or another. And I decided that I think I can provide value for you. And from that point on, the game begins to convince that person that you can provide value. And so I go back to the math game. If you're just marketing and you know, I hate using the term marketing because marketing is, to me, is the whole thing. If you're just promoting, okay, you're just putting your content out there and promoting, trying to get people to respond, I'm telling you, you're going for first downs, and that's not how you win a game. It's just not how you do it. You got to study the people that are engaged with your content. And that's going to lead to, I think, a next focus when we do this. I'll do this about every probably 3 to 5 weeks. I'll do a session like this. It'll be recorded. It'll stay up on the YouTube channel. I'll make a nice blog post out of it. But what I'll hone in on next time is how and why you want to take a broad shotgun approach to your content. Most company blogs, when you look at those blogs, they talk about their product and their company. 90%. And some people say the 80-20 rule, 80% about you, 20%. I say flip that. I say no one cares about you and your company and your brand and your message. People don't care about that. What's in it for them? That's what they're after. That's what you have to feed. It's what is it that's going to make them read, watch, listen, and ultimately share. Because if you can get people sharing, here we go. Okay. Go to autoconversion.net, look under webcasts, look under B2B marketing. Okay. This is one of 2